Hey everybody, welcome on the glide slope. Coming up in the real world later this week, if the weather holds, I'm going to be doing my first cross-country flight as part of my flight training. So I'm going to simulate that flight today, where it's flying from Brandywine Airport outside of Philadelphia to York, Pennsylvania. We'll be using charts today, just like I will on Thursday. I've planned my flight log using my flight planner. I've got the checklist that I use in the real airplane. Route of flight basically is over the top. We're going to go out at 4,500 feet over the top of Susquehanna Airport. We're going to just go with pilotage and visual navigation on the way out. So over the top of Chester County, then about 24 miles on after that, we should cross over a bridge over the Susquehanna. Then we'll take a direct heading to York. We'll start our descent when we start to get to York proper in terms of the town. On the way back, we're going to fly to track the 180 or the 280 radial out of Medina VOR. So that'll be a heading of 102 on the OBS. We'll fly on a heading till we get to as a visual navigation point, the same bridge over Susquehanna. Then by then we should have the nav receiving, and then from there it's just a short hop over to Brandywine. So about 42 minutes give or take on the way out, and 39 minutes give or two on the way back. And other than that, my glue is still coming undone here after a year and a couple months on the glare shield. I need to fix that. Other than that, I won't film the whole flight. I'm just going to edit it as we go, running real world weather, real world time. It's time to get started. So without any further ado, we'll start getting ready to go. Let's presume we've done our walk around. Everybody's briefed. Carb heat is off. Altimeter set to field elevation. All right, looks like we're started. Okay, so we're going to be departing runway 27. I'm going to simulate all the radio calls. So I'd call Brandywine traffic, Cherokee 83903 departing or taxiing to 27 Brandywine. Final check, magnetos are to both, master switch is on, fuel selector is to proper tank, electric fuel pump on, carb heat is off, seat back is erect, mixture is rich, power full, engine gauges are green across the board, flaps are down, trim is set to neutral. Controls, that goes up, that goes down, that goes up, that goes down, that goes up, that goes down. Basic 6 back instruments are correct. Radio stack would be good if I was actually on the CTAF frequency of 121.4. That's actually the ATIS, 123.075 is CTAF. Brandywine traffic, Cherokee 83903 departing runway 27 straight out, Brandywine. Nobody coming. Okay, aligned, heading align, full power. RPM is good, engine instruments are green, airspeed is alive on the center line, rotation, density altitude, accelerate to VY, and ready for engine out. VY, over the highway, make our safety turn, noise abatement, and let's trim ourselves, and start the clock. All right, first leg. 4,500 feet. Take our heading of 278 now. First checkpoint is going to be Chester County Airport. And we should be top of climb in about 8 minutes. Although we're climbing faster than 500 feet a minute, so it'll be less time than that. Okay. Okay, we're still climbing out here, but one of the things we would do is we would pick up flight following from Philly approach on 124.35. We'd listen for a second. Tell them that we are 3 miles due north of the Medina VOR. Philadelphia approach Cherokee 83993. They'd say, go ahead, 83993. I'd say Philadelphia approach Cherokee 83993 is 3,200 climbing 4,500. We're 3 miles north of the Medina VOR. Would like to request advisories to York. That is Tango Hotel Victor. They'd come back, they'd give us a squawk code, they'd say squawk 1234. I'd say squawk 1234 for 83993. They'd come back and they'd say Cherokee 3993, radar contact 7 miles northwest of the Medina VOR, maintain VFR navigation and altitudes. I would say maintain VFR 83993. Okay, we are coming up to our top of climb. And we should be able pretty soon here to see Chester County Airport. Again, we're going to get to that faster than we would have because I estimated a 500 feet a minute climb and I'm climbing at best speed or best rate, BY, which is doing about 700 feet a minute. Chester County Airport right in front of us. So we will throttle back to about 24, which is where we want to cruise at. And we got to top of climb in just 5 minutes and 20 seconds. So faster than expected for sure. And I can see Chester County, and that's our next waypoint. We're going to go right over the top of it. I'd switch over to its CTAF and tell them that we're going to be passing overhead at 4,500. That is 122.7. Chester County Cherokee 83993 is 5 miles due east of the field, 4,500. Be passing overhead, Chester County. Okay, once we get to Chester County, we're going to fly a heading of 278. A little bit of a lean here in this airplane, much more so than real life. Tanks are equal, so it's not that. I think just thinks because I'm sitting in one side, I don't know. Maybe it's just my yoke isn't calibrated well. It's okay, it causes us to remain focused. Chester County, we're going to fly that heading. Our next major landmark will be the Susquehanna River, but we'll pass Lancaster on our right as well, which we should be able to see okay. Smoketown Airport we might be able to see. Okay, so are we over Chester County Airport? Yeah, I'd say we're close enough to say that we're over it. Okay, so that's 8.5 minutes. I think it would take 10, so we're ahead of schedule. Although we're not quite directly over it yet. Trying to get a look out the window. The visibility in the sim isn't as good as it in the real world. It's okay, we'll just do chandelles and lazy 8s. Yeah, we're over the airport. Close enough. Okay, so lap. And our new time, we did that in 9 minutes, so we did that in 3. Okay. And now we fly to a heading of 278. Not a whole lot of visual references out here, not a lot of VFR checkpoints, so we're going to have to keep our eyes on our heading. And alright, so we're on our way to the next spot. I think I'll turn that down just a little bit. There we go. Alright, I'll check in a bit. Okay, a couple of things. We are making our way. I can actually see the Susquehanna River channel out there in the distance. There are not a whole lot of visual references out here, but I believe we are about where we are supposed to be. I can see these high tension wires off here off to the left, getting further away from me, which they are supposed to do. And one of the things I did back there that I would not do in the real world, I made a mistake. Boy, this stuff is really falling apart. Is I told Chester County I would have been over the top. I wouldn't be doing that, obviously, if I had advisory. So if we're with Philly approach, eventually that would switch over to, I think, Harrisburg approach. But I'm just going to stick with it right now. But the fact of the matter is I wouldn't have done that because I would have been talking to air traffic control already. I think that's Quarryville right there off to my right. If that's true, oops, bumped the camera with my head. I'm a little closer to that side than I would expect to be, but not too bad. And then we should be seeing Lancaster off to this side, which I can see the outskirts of. Highway going north-south there. Yeah, that's probably the one coming out of Quarryville. That would put us about halfway to that marker. This was supposed to be a 16-minute leg. We're 9:30 in, so that's about right. So now I'm going to be looking ahead to try to see the bridge that I'm supposed to fly by. We'll be right south of Coniston of Lancaster when we do that. We're just flying with the carb heat on because it keeps saying I have carburetor ice, which I probably would not have on a day like this. But regardless, it's just easier than having to keep messing with it. Alright, so we're going to start looking for the bridge up here. And then once we get to the bridge and cross the river, heading 276 for another 16 minutes to York. Starting our descent right when we get to York itself. Another highway there off to our left, or our right. Yep. 2 highways coming out of Lancaster. That's where theirs was supposed to be. Alright, and I plan this to be just a little to the north of the bridge, but we'll see. You can see the river comes down. Should be right at this bend. If I look to that side, there's a nuke plant down there on that side. Yeah, I can see the plant there on the river. It's not a nuke plant, it's just a big electrical plant. And those bridges, so I can see that on the charts right there. Okay. So we're doing a good job being about where we're supposed to be. Yep, I can see the bridge. So the bridge is right there. Okay. Good. Crept up my altitude a little bit here. Okay, well, we'll check in when we cross that bridge. Alright, we are at our next waypoint. I just passed the bridge off the wingtip. That took 15 minutes. Supposed to take 16. And now we also just had our timer tell us that it's time to switch tanks. So fuel pump on, switch tanks, positive fuel pressure, and fuel pump off. And now our new heading is going to be 276. And this next leg should be also 16 minutes. The next major visual landmark for us now that we're over the bridge is going to be, well, the town of York. So we'll come up to Red Lion, and then once that happens, then when we get to the town of York itself, really start to hit the buildings of York, we'll start our descent. 500 feet, pattern altitude 1500. So if we're at 4,500, it's going to take us about 8 minutes to make it, or it's going to take us. Oh, I am tired at the end of my day here. We have to lose 3,000 feet. That's going to take us 6 minutes at 500 feet a minute. That's going to be about 10 miles. So that's how I plotted the top of descent. We're going a little faster than that. Again, my RPM keeps varying, but I'm working with it. Alright, we'll check in at top of descent. Okay, a couple things are starting to happen. We're starting to come up into the outskirts of York, Loganville, Dallastown, Red Lion. So we would now tell Philadelphia Approach that we wanted to resume our own nav cancel advisories. So I'd say probably at this point, Harrisburg Approach, Cherokee 83903, they'd say go ahead. I'd say I would like to cancel advisories, please. And they would say squawk VFR and radar service terminate. Resume frequency change approved. So then we would go, let's get the 119275 as the York AWAS. Weather just reloaded.
Wind 290 and 15. Visibility more than 10. Sky clear. Temperature 24. Dew point -14. Altimeter 3000.
3000.
Wind 290 and 15. Visibility more than 10.
29015.
Clear. Temperature 24.
That's blowing.
Altimeter
Okay.
3000.
We'll be ready for that. We'll go to their CTAF frequency, which is 123.0. Okay. And we're going to be looking for the main outskirts of town. Let's see how far along are we here. We are are now 9 minutes in. It's a little more than halfway from the bridge. Yep. So we'll start our descent. Nice and easy. There's a highway. Yep, we're right where we're supposed to be. So this is where we should start our descent now. And we are about 10 miles out, so we would call them. York traffic, Cherokee 83993 is 10 miles east of the field. 4,300 inbound for full stop. York traffic. 290 at 15. 17 and 35 are their runways. We're going to be landing on 35. So we're going to be landing on 3.5. We're going to be making 45 into the left downwind for 3.5. We'll set up pretty well for that. Okay, we're right at about 16 minutes. We are looking for the airport, which I have not seen. Seeing airports in X-Plane is harder than seeing them in the real life, I find. So we're holding at about 3,000 feet. Very few. Looks like there's a big highway that goes out. Well, there's a highway. I wouldn't call it a big highway that goes out by the airport. We've got a highway over here. And there's a town. It's hard to know. Gotta know when to call because you're lost. I don't think we're quite there yet. There's a town. If I could get any kind of a obvious visual reference would be great. But we are now at 18 minutes, so we should be here. That is a little town with a highway running through it. Highway runs north-south, another one runs east-west. The problem is there's a million of little towns like that up here. Let's come up here and do a turn. See if we can find the airport. Oh, that might be an airport right there. Usually my navigation is pretty spot on, but okay, well, when in doubt, let's track a radial and see if that can tell us. Medina 113.2. See if we can pick it up. No, too far out. Okay, then let's do Harrisburg, 117.3. Alright. Oops, for some reason I just turned. I don't know why that's happening. Seems like my key assignments are screwed up. We're approaching the 2-4 radial on from. So if that's the case, okay, so this is York. This has got to be York in front of me here. So I was a little bit south of it. If we're approaching the 2-4 from radial from Lancaster, we're on heading at 3-3. Yeah, we were a little bit south of target. Okay, that's good to know. Well, let's keep going until we intercept that. And our airport would actually be on the about the 2-5 radial. These things aren't turning for me the way I want them to. I had configured these FIP dials, but they seem to have forgotten their configuration. They're pulling up a VOR instead. Alright, we're coming right up to the 2-4 radial. No, I don't have a DME in the airplane that I'm flying in the real world, so I'm not going to look at that. But I will just know that if I'm on the 2-4 radial, when I cross that radial, okay. And if that's generally the start of York ahead of me, then about here is where we should turn back to our heading again. I wonder if that is that little Dallas town. The little Dallas town reservoir. It's hard to see, but that's clearly York. And so from York, we should be flying this westerly heading, and we should see an airport right out here. So I was a little too far south. Well, that's why we practice. Yeah, so I would be right there. And the airport. There's a field right there with crossways. That's Gilbert, I bet. Says it's a private strip. There's a, yeah, there is power lines. Okay, so if that's Gilbert, where's the airport? There's the little hills north of York. And the main highway comes out of York. That's the main highway there. Unfortunately, there are several main highways coming. The main east-west highway comes out of York. And it should go straight to the airport. So let's follow it and see if that takes us there. Good for you guys to see me struggle with this. Okay, well, let's see. It is a couple miles. About to give up and look on the map. The fact that I can't turn my OBS indicator doesn't make this any easier. This is saying we're now 40 miles from Lancaster, or from, right? I think we're way past it. I think we've way overflown it. So let's see, I'm going to give up and pull up the map. Well, no, that's not the point. There is no real landmark up here that is obvious. All this crap looks the same. What other town could that be? Hanover? No, there's no small strip near Hanover. There's the higher towns to the right, or to the mountains to the right of the flight out. Retrace our steps. Find something that we can identify, even if I could find a racetrack or something. I noticed that well, that's why I've flown out. I'm way, way, way west. I have flown out of the orthophoto scenery, which is something I should have noticed. And it covers York, so I've got to be, shit, that could have been, heck, that could have been Gettysburg. That could have been a lot of things. Let's work our way back here and find ourselves back. Flying a due easterly heading. This town is a big town, but it's not a huge town like York would be. Could it be Hanover? Possibly. Yeah, there's that little... Yeah, that's Hanover. Alright, I'm over Hanover. York from Hanover is a bearing of about 70 degrees. So this is Hanover. Alright, we found out where we were. We didn't miss it by much, but we missed it. We got further south, of course, than we needed to be. So, yeah, and there's that reservoir. Okay, we found ourselves. We know right where we are. The York Airport's going to be right up here. Yep, so that's Hanover. There's this river that goes by it. We'll go north of it. There's, yep. I can see those antennas there on the chart. 1,500 feet, that's them. Right over those antennas, and we'll come to the York Airport. Well, that was scary, but that is why we simulate. Yeah, so somehow I took, maybe the winds shifted on me? Could be. But we were over Hanover. Camera's still running? Yeah, good, we're getting all this. Okay, so we'll fly right over these antenna, and then they should take us pretty close to the York Airport. There's a little lake. Okay. All right, we were lost, but now we are generally found. Okay, York Airport's going to be right up here. So it's a York traffic. Cherokee 83993 is 5 miles southwest of the field. 3,300 inbound for left traffic into 35 York. Well, that's why we practice. It's good to simulate that experience, I think. I wonder if my instructor would have let me just do that. Hope so. Now let's hope that we are where we really think we are. Again, airports can be tough to pick out. In this, I think I see it right here. So if we're going to enter, we'll overfly the field and do a teardrop in for 3-5. York traffic, Cherokee 83993 is 2 miles west of the field. We're going to overfly, make teardrop, 45-degree entry into 3-5 York. If that's it. Looks like it. Looks like it should be it. But again, hard to see. Okay, get our heading bug set for 3-5. Let's hear the wind one more time.
York weather. Wind 270 and 5. Visibility more than 10.
Okay.
Sky clear. Temperature.
Actually, I'm going to put the wind at
-14.
heading bug at the wind,
Altimeter
270.
3000.
Yep, there's the field. All right, thank God.
York weather. Wind 270 and 5. Visible.
Winds are really doing in an X environment what they say they should be doing, but let's get ready to go here. Pattern altitude's 1,500 feet, so we've got some altitude to lose. York traffic, Cherokee 83993 passing overhead. We'll be making a 45-degree entry for left traffic into 3-5 York. Okay, descent checklist. Strobes are on, landing lights are on. We'll do a fuel pump in just a second. Overflying the field. Continuing our descent. Wind's right behind us. We're going to have a real crosswind on this landing. This is the big highway coming out of York that we were looking for. Nice golf course there. Get well away from the pattern here. York spread out in front of us, easy to see once you realize how big it is. Don't know how I missed that. Okay. Make our turn, our teardrop. Traffic Cherokee 83993 is entering on the 45 for left traffic into 35 York. Where's the airport? Coming to pattern altitude. Make our 45 entry. There we go. We're gonna have to be mindful of that crosswind blowing us off our pattern. Our turn. York traffic, Cherokee 3993 is on the downwind for 35, left traffic, York. There we are. At the numbers. First notch flaps. Carb heat on, fuel pump on, landing lights are on. Trim for 90 knots. There we go. York traffic, Cherokee 83993 is turning left base 435, York. Next notch of flaps. York traffic, Cherokee 83993 is turning final 435, York. There we go. Left wing will be down here to account for that crosswind, full flaps. A little high, a few stutters, trim the airplane, we're a little fast. Let's just get out of the throttle here, fly a little slip. There we go. We'll just dead stick this baby. Alright, well that was interesting, from getting lost to the whole 9 yards. That crosswind landing went okay. Alright, we were gonna go get a $200 hamburger and then fly back, this time with the benefit of VOR navigation, presuming I can get my OBS indicators to work. We'll fix that in just a second. Okay, we're ready to head back. We're tuned into the Medina VOR. We're tuned into the 100° 2 radial for that VOR. We have the heading to fly, which is going to be 103 to the bridge, which will be our next waypoint, and then straight shot across. So we're just got to keep an eye on that heading indicator. The wind, if it's coming from the west, should be almost directly behind us. It might be pushing us a little bit to one side, but we've accounted for that with our heading. And we're ready to go. So magnetos to both. Trim is set to neutral. Flaps are up. mixture rich. Carb heat's off. And lights are on, let's go. Not getting lost on the way back, I can tell you that. Okay. Instruments agree. Full power. Remember, we've got that west crosswind that's dipped that left wing. Instruments are good. Airspeed's alive on the center line. Close to it. Takeoff point. VY. Getting lost. Usually my pilotage is dead on. There's just so few visual landmarks that you can trust. And looking at a sectional is just not easy to pick out little details like it would be if you had a TAC chart. At least not for me. Okay, well, this part's easy. We generally follow the highway. We'll go south of the bulk of York. Look for our VOR to tune in. The clock is running. This first leg to the bridge should be about 14 minutes. Trying to recount how I got so far west. You know what? I think I crossed over the wrong bridge, now that I look at it. Because there's a power plant further down on that side, right by a bridge. Yep, and there's all those little lakes. I crossed over the wrong bridge. I crossed over a bridge about 5 miles south of where I want to be, which means I got blown too far, or flew too far south on the first leg. Okay, well, that's good to know. You got to trust your eyes, but trust your eyes against the chart. So let's be mindful of that. Yeah, I see exactly where we went, and I can see on the sectional there's a whole bunch of little lakes just on the west or east side of the river, and I remember flying right over those. So I flew over the wrong bridge in the rocks. I need to look more closely. I should have known back then that I was off path, off track. Climb to our altitude, lose a little bit here. All right, we tell them that we were off last call. This obviously is York. It's a big town. Looks like it. Okay, we can turn off the landing lights, turn off the fuel pump. Okay, well, a learning experience all the way around. Okay, two things are happening here. First of all, there's our bridge. It's the correct bridge. All the things that should tell me it's the correct bridge. Little island in the river, narrow point, double bridges up there, windmills right there, by the way, which should be, yeah, the windmills are on the chart. There are two windmills right there that I can see. Great visual reference point. Also, if we didn't have all that agreeing information, our VOR is tuned in. We can ident it. Yep, Medina, and we are on that. So, those windmills are cool. Right where they're supposed to be. So all that tells us that we are generally, this time, correct in where we are supposed to be and what we are supposed to be doing. So we have that fun going for us, which is nice. And now we'll just fly this heading until we're there. Alright, let's get stabilized here. Now that point, we're about a minute over it. Stop. That was about 11 minutes. Total. Supposed to be 14. So we are going faster than I expected us to go by a fair amount. We can check our ground speed there. That was about 17 miles. Pull up our Sporty's EFB. Ground speed 15 miles. Oh, sorry. It's actually 23 miles. And what was it? Let's say 11 minutes. Ground speed 125 knots. We're getting there in a hurry. That wind behind us. Okay, still making progress. The good news is we're exactly where we are supposed to be. We're about 10 miles away from the Medina VOR. We've been following appropriate visual references along the way. We just passed Christina, and we're coming up next to or Susquehanna, and we're actually coming up next to Chester County Airport, which we flew over the first time. And we're doing a pretty good job of tracking our radial on the way in. And in fact, here comes Chester County Airport right up into the visual here, so that means we're just a few minutes away. And we don't even need to really go to the Medina VOR if we don't want to, but we might as well. There's the Sikorsky factory over there. And I'll probably take us down to 2,500 feet. And it's been 30 minutes, so we should switch fuel tanks, fuel pump on, switch tanks. Check for positive fuel flow. Got it. Pump off. Now I can fly visually from here on in, because I know the way, but I often fly over to Chester County to practice touch and goes. I designed that scenery, actually. It's available on the .org if you want to get it. Starting to get closer to sunset here. Okay, we are just about to cross over the Medina VOR, 2,500 feet, and I can see the town of Westchester over here, and that's where we'll make our heading once we cross the VOR. Should have been 17 minutes from the bridge to the VOR. We're going to do it in almost 17 on the nose. I don't want to chase the needle now. We're right next to the VOR, so we'll just let it slide by. Head on a swivel here in the real world, because there's always people out here practicing IFR approaches, and the Medina VOR is an initial approach fix for a lot of them. Okay, there goes the deflection of our needle. And we're past. Okay, so now we can turn and we will call Brandywine Airport, Cherokee, Brandywine traffic, Cherokee 8393 is just over the Medina VOR, inbound make 45-degree entry for left traffic into 27 Brandywine. Okay, I checked the weather real world for Brandywine. Its winds are 240 at 3. No idea if that's what the sim is showing or not, but it should be close to that. Get our heading bug set for the wind direction. The Brandywine AWAS doesn't show up in X-Plane, so I just check what it is in real world and guess. Okay, here we are, Westchester in front of us. And this is pretty much a 45-degree angle. So we'll start coming down. Let's check the altimeter. The real world. Altimeter is 3001. Okay. Right over the town of Westchester. There's our airport right in front of us. Right there. Hopefully we have enough batteries for the landing. If not, I'll let you know how it ends up post-production. Brandywine traffic, Cherokee 3993 is 3 miles southwest of the field, entering on the 45 for left downwind into 27 Brandywine. That's the call I would make in real world. Down to pattern altitude. I have a frame adjusting software running and it's causing some scenery to pop in. Okay, here we are, pattern altitude. Brandywine traffic, Cherokee 3993 is entering on the left downwind for 27 Brandywine. This is right where I would be in real life. The airport, halfway up the wing, just like it should be. Get ourselves trimmed here. There we go. Okay, we're at the threshold. Throttle back. Fuel pump on, landing lights on, carb heats on, mixture rich, first notch flaps. Trim for 90 knots. Looking back. Okay, about now. Brandywine traffic, Cherokee 3993, turning left base for 27 Brandywine. Coming. Next notch flaps. Looking good. Brandywine traffic, Cherokee 3993 is turning final for 27 Brandywine. Right on the glide slope, one white, one red. Full power into that wind. And I don't think it's running 3 in the sim. Feels more than that. Final flaps. We are fast. I got distracted. One of my kids came down here at the last second and distracted me. Everything out of the throttle. Little slip. Still a little fast, but that's okay. Just use our runway. There we go. Well, we were set up pretty good there until I got distracted. Okay, I was kind of crushing the brakes there trying to make that turn off. So there we go. I think that means supper's ready in my house, but that is the flight. That was 21 minutes to landing from the bridge. I had it taken 25. So we made a little bit faster time. That's okay, nothing wrong with that. And that's that. So that is the training for my cross country. I had a text from my instructor while we were doing this saying that he can't go, unfortunately, on Thursday, so I'm not quite sure when I'm going to fly that, but it was fun to fly in the sim, and I learned a lesson about map navigation, that you got to really look close at that sectional. There's lots of little details there if you pay attention. I'm going to go back, put this baby back to the barn. In the same meantime, thanks for watching on the glide slope, and if you have questions about the simulator, please go to www.ontheglideslope.net. That will have almost all the questions you can ask answered, including specifications, screen setups, all that kind of stuff. If you're wondering about the specs here, this was homemade ortho scenery with X-Enviro weather and HD mesh and World XP America, all of which is freeware. And this particular airport I designed myself using World Environment Designer, which is also free. So that's what's up. Thanks for watching on the glide slope, and I'll see you on the next video.